Hello, everyone. Good evening, good afternoon, and good morning. Welcome to the fourth session of Sustainability Youth Dialogues. I am Ashima Mathur, and on behalf of the organizing partners, I welcome you all to this wonderful session on SDG4, which is on quality and inclusive education for all. Um, I would first like to mention about our organizing partners, which is Connecting Dreams Foundation, Global Network for Sustainable Development, Kabitan, MasterPeace Foundation, Helping Hand International, Indonesia. Thank you everyone for joining this session and investing your time with us. Uh, Thank you, Ketki, Simi, Amit, Art, Maria, Dr. Sapna for joining us on behalf of the core team. Connecting Dreams Foundation started the sustainability, this platform, the Youth for Sustainability Dialogues, to share their projects, their ideas, and connect projects around the globe. Youth are the torchbearers of tomorrow's sustainable world we envision. That was the thought behind this platform. And so we are putting the youth in the driver's seat, allowing them to engage in discussions to showcase their work in local communities. This platform organizes one online session every 2 weeks to discuss about the wonderful projects they've been doing and to connect with like-minded people on SDGs. Today's discussion is focused on SDG4 that aims at ensuring inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. Achieving inclusive and quality education for all reaffirms the belief that education is one of the most powerful and proven vehicles for sustainable development. Education enables upward socioeconomic mobility and is a key to escaping poverty. The UN has also proclaimed that education plays a key role in building sustainable and resilient societies. With this note, I would now request Dr. Sapna Narula, who is the professor and dean of School of Management Studies at Nalanda University, India, and also the president of GNSD, to say a few lines on today's topic of discussion. Dr. Sapna, over
Yeah,
to you.
thank you, Dr. Ashima Mathur. Thank you for introducing the platform. Let me tell you, it's such a pleasure to have such a platform where youth from different countries are able to engage with themselves. And this is the thought behind starting Youth for Sustainability Dialogues. When I was discussing with Amit and Simi of Connecting Dreams Foundation, and so glad to see that it is successfully running. I have never had the time to participate in the previous discussions, but I'm glad to be here today because the topic interests me, education. We all know that one of the sustainable development goal is targeting on equal education, access to education and innovation in learning. The topic is extremely good post COVID-19 scenario, as we have seen that by default we were compelled to do innovations in learning, and I have been always professing that we have to go beyond the conventional models of learning which are making our students and our youth only focus towards books and some of the accepted models. So we have to go beyond this, and the work that is being done by GNSD and Connecting Dreams Foundation is that how we are involving the youth in doing some practical work in sustainable development goals. It is heartening to see that they go to communities, they are working on different projects, they are engaging with them, they are measuring their own performance, they have targets that how many people they will train. So this is an entirely new experience beyond curriculum for them. So I think this is the need of the hour, a very good topic that has been taken up. in Youth for Sustainability Dialogues. What we have been giving youth when a student goes to school, when a student goes to college, he gets to be taught in the area where we want him to teach. So I think we should also hear from the youth. What are they learning? uh, Today is 2020, but we have to think about the models which will be there in 2050. So I think today's discussion will bring a lot of good points and good recommendations related to innovations in learning. And I don't want to take much of your time, because it is the time for the youth to just have their voice at this platform. With all these words, I thank my team from GNSD, Dr. Ashima Mathur, Natalia, Bipin Pandey, and also our collaborators, Connecting Dreams Foundation, my good friend Dr. Simi Mishra, who is here. So thank you so much, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you, Dr. Sapna, for your lovely words and for the encouraging start we are going to have. Now I would like to introduce our expert, Ms. Ditta Trindade. Ditta is a social entrepreneur, policy developer, and an educator inspired to contribute to social change and innovation. She has worked with international and national organizations on the themes of youth, global education, human rights, intercultural learning, citizenship, gender, conflict transformation, social innovation, and e-learning. She currently works for Genie as a global education specialist, coordinating the Global Education Increase and Innovation Program. She is also in the advisory board for MasterPeace Foundation. Thank you, Ms. Ditta Trinidad, for joining us, and we look forward to hearing you as an expert in the session.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Ashima just want to take 1 minute. I'm sorry I could not acknowledge the presence of Ditta as well as Masterpiece. We are glad to be joining hands with them too. Thank you.
Thank you for the warm welcome. I'm delighted to be here, and it's a great pleasure. And well, I'm proud to see this collaboration of MasterPeace and Connecting Dreams Foundation and Global Network for Sustainable Development to happen. And I'm really looking forward to hear from the experiences shared by the young people, young leaders.
Thank you, Rita. Thank you so much. Okay, so now in this session, we'll hear from our two teams who are committed to providing quality education to hard-reached communities. Let's not waste our time and let's just start the session. We will first hear from our two teams, and then we'll have a talk from our expert who will share her perspective on quality education. If any one of you have any questions, then you are more than welcome to post in the chat or in the Facebook Live. Uh, Also, I would like to remind everyone that we are also having a quiz at the end of the session, which targets the SDG4 as well, and on the slide content of the slides. The winner from the last session is Aditi Kutaria. So congratulations, Aditi. Now, I would request our first team, Mr. Santosh from MasterPeace Nepal, to tell us about their work. Mr. Santosh, the stage is all yours.
Namaste, everyone. So thank you, Dr. Ashima, for nice welcoming. My name is Santosh Bidari. I'm from Nepal. I'm a founder of Peace for People. I'm a passionate about learning and inspiring each other. Today, I'm here to presenting a really nice session for me because from the last 11 years, I'm involving in these topics about the quality education. I'm so glad to be part of the sustainability.
Santosh, we can't. No. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So I'm so glad to be a part of this dialogue because youth is hope of every nation all around the world. There are so many young people, they are doing so much fantastic work in their local community. We really want to know each other. We really need to inspire young people because without young people involvement, the goal of sustainable development is seems impossible. That's why I really like to give thanks for the Connecting Team Foundation, MasterPeace, and all the team who are supporting for this beautiful dialogue. I'm really thankful, and definitely I would like to go in my slide. I really like to go in my presentation. So today I'm going to present what we did, what I did, what my team is doing in my country, Nepal. So that's the overall in my presentation. So I started from my personal story, and then after that, there is our organization and some of the more slides. So I really wanted to go slides one by one. So hopefully everyone, you will be understanding me clearly because there is some internet issue, still I have internet issue, but I'm doing my best for sure. So I start my story. When I was the child.
Hi, Santosh, sorry to interrupt, but can you make it full screen for everybody? Just make it full screen. Great, thanks. Go ahead.
Just a minute, doing it. Yeah. So I really wanted to start this session from my personal story. So when I was a child, I really did not like to going to schools. I had no motivation or interest. I used to think of ways to avoid to going to school. I always wondered if this was happening only for me or not. After 10 years, understood I was not the only one. The main reason is that boring course, passive school environment, lack of the child-friendly and sport-friendly environment. Then I start to think how I have found some solution. And then I just start to think about the solution. That's the main reason why I established this foundation, Peace for People, on Monday, 16 November 2009. So that's how I started my foundation. So when I was start my foundation, our motto is that play, learn, and grow together. Because there is always, we really wanted to do something different. That's why we started some different approach to other foundation. So our approach is that our educational system is characterized by learning and lack of the creativity. That's why we are working to introduce innovative teaching learning approach, where the students are encouraged to learn through the music, arts, sports, and storytelling. Same time, I have really life-changing experiences. My journey of learning and inspiring started from 2009, but when I joined MasterPeace in 2012, I got to learn and grow more with the best network. I could make a significant impact on the society with the help of willing individuals. So I can go for the next slide. So you can see in this slide, this is a really proud to share all of you because there are three different pictures. So if you can see in the first picture, this is the school when we went in first time. So when we reached the village, we can see this is as a school. Definitely we are feeling sad because this is a look like a goat farm in my country, in my culture. So local people are really unable to make a school building. So without the school building, how they can provide quality education, how they can provide the good education. That's why we can just think to start found some resources. So if you can see the second picture, we can just make in a few months, that's the progress in second schools, as a second picture in the same school. So after a year of preparation, after a year of spending our time, so these are the final school for now. So this is the picture for now school. I'm really happy, I'm really proud to share with you how the local small initiative can change bigger impact for the society. So I can just wanted to expand a bit about this slide, another slide. Basically, main stakeholder of the education are parents, teacher, and students. So they are the main stakeholder of the education. But when we see in my country, in my community, there have been lots of gap between teacher, parents, and students. So when there have been lots of gap, and some parents almost, most of the majority of the parents, they are not really caring about their children education. They are going to schools, they are not going to schools. And many more times, parents really are complaining when we just invited kids in the schools and start to play, and parents start to complain, hey, I'm just sending my kids to school for the learning, for the study, not for the playing. That's why we just started some different kind of activities to how we are aware to parents playing also so important to learning, how we can make them clarify how they will be properly understood about the the play, learn, and grow is why it is so important for the learning process. So that's why we are organizing parents boot camp so several times. So this is the one slide for the one time. So I can go for the next slides. So next slides is typically this is about totally in different slides because many schools teacher are just teach about the books, what's inside the books. So they are just sharing, yeah, you can do homework, you need to do just read this story. All these things are for the memorize. So when all these things are memorized, every time when we went thousand of the schools, kids are always not really happy inside the classroom. That's why we are just trying to do some extra things. So some extra things mean how we can use storytelling tools for the teaching. So that's why we just organizing, storytelling mentorship workshops. So these workshops are focusing for the teacher who are as English teacher in primary level school. So when we inviting them as a training, so there are some trainer come from the different country as well. So basically the workshop are like, they just some step like a 4 step for this storytelling. So there is a hear, map, step, and speak. So there are 4 techniques we really like to share with a teacher. When you will be in a classroom, please, you can try to do these different techniques. That's why introduction to learning by playing technique. So that's something that's something different events and workshop we are doing we have done in several times. So after that, you can see this is another slide. So it's all about, we said, life skill development training, because when I met thousands of the young people in my country, some people, more people, they have good certificates, they have a good mark sheet, but when we can go about the life skills training, they have less and less life skill, life skill needed things. So that's why we organize many life skill development training where we are inviting the secondary level, lower secondary level, higher secondary level kids to join with us as a young people, and we can sharing with them how they can developing their life skill. So there's a different kind of that we can play with the game. We really like to listening what's the problem they have. Basically most of the time people don't like to listen other problem, but all these kind of the training and the program we really like to listening them. So that's the something different what we are doing in our way. So that's another slide. So that basically we said quality education supporting program. So quality education supporting program, especially focusing for the talent banker. So talent banker means there are many people from the different country. They would like to come in our schools. They would like to join with us, and they really like to play with the kids. They want to sports. They want to music with the kids. So basically, this is only for the 1 year data. So almost in 1 year, we have 9 friends and one does almost 10 international volunteer. They are working in our 5 different schools in the Harding district. So almost some volunteer wants to stay with us around a month. Some volunteer wants to be at 2-3 months. So that's something new way, when someone come from the abroad and they can just come to school and they start to playing with them. We really like to encourage the people, encourage the kids, hey, you can come to school every day because you have a new teacher, you have someone come from the abroad to talking with you, meeting with you. So that's the program about quality education supporting program. So I want to go in another slide. So these are the only in last 11 years what we have achieved. So our achievements, there have been more program, but today we are just talking about education. So that's why I'm just wanted to explain what we have done in last 11 years. So we constructed 2 school building in 2 different part of the Nepal. So there are more than 150 students in those 2 schools, but all these schools, all the free quality education are free. So there is no any fee, nothing. So kids, they can be able to get everything from our side. Same time, we are able to send more than 3,000 kids to school in last 11 years who really need to backpack, stationery, dress, something like that. So there are 22 schools in 7 districts. So they are able to reach 3,000 kids in 22 schools and 7 districts. And same time, we are focusing about the scholarship grant because many kids are unable to go to school because they don't have money. So we are grant to 619 students, all the different courses. Some of them are college level course, some of them are mechanical civil construction, and some of them are from the school level. So that's what we achieve in last 11 years. So what we would like to do in next 10 years, like what's the goal for the next 10 years? So that's also really important to share all of you. So basically, we already set goal by 2030 because we always like to working with a Sustainable Development Goal SDG4. That's why the first goal by 2030 is that providing educational support to more than 8,000 students in local community. Same time, we would like to organize teenager bootcamp, life skill development training, all these kinds of training for the 10,000 youths from the, about what they will, how they will be solve their problem, and what about the life. Just we really like to organizing this kind of the event for the 10,000 youths. And we would like to train more than 1,000 teachers and 10,000 parents by conducting 120 teacher training course for the primary level, lower secondary level, and secondary level students. Same time, now we really think how we are connecting schools from the different parts of the world. So like we really like to start global classroom and teacher hub in Nepal. So that's what we already that's what we really like to do by 2030. When I'm working with last 11 years in this sector, I started to construction school building, but now in 11 years, I was found new challenge. What is the challenge? What challenge I found in last 11 years is that the biggest challenge is not to build the schools. The biggest challenge is to transform the educational value in local community of Nepal. That's the challenge I found now. That's I really realize now. Thank you very much. I just finished my slide, but definitely I will really appreciate all your feedback and suggestion. Thank you very much, Ashima.
Yep. Thank you, Santosh, for your presentation and for your describing your project well. Now I would request Natalia and Bipin from GNSD to share their projects with us.
Hi, everyone. My name is Natalia Stefanska, and I'm the Sister School Project Coordinator for Poland for Global Network for Sustainable Development. And I would like to talk to you today a little bit about our project. So Global Network for Sustainable Development is a non-profit, non-governmental organization which aims to contribute to the achievement of Sustainable Development Goals through educating young people about the principles of sustainable development entities and providing them with ideas and tools to achieving them. The closest goal to the heart of GNSD is the fourth goal of sustainable development, quality education, which we are talking about today. And Sister School Project was born in light of this exact sustainable development goal. We thought that we can't really teach sustainability if we leave some schools behind, and a lot of schools are certainly left behind if we compare how these schools in rural areas of developing countries look comparing to the schools of developed countries. So the Sister School Project was created to provide education, quality education, to children and teenagers from these underdeveloped and developing countries through connecting their schools with schools from developed countries. I would especially like today to talk about our first cooperation, which I feel like was very meaningful because it was the first one, the one that started everything. And I was also a direct part of it. You can even try to find me in the picture on the right. This cooperation was between Sri Siddhi Ganesh Primary School in Nepal and Catholic Public High School in Poland. And how did it all even start? I would like my colleague, Ditta Trindade, who's the coordinator for Nepal for the project, to talk a little bit about how this all came to be. Please, Ditta.
Hello, namaste everyone. This is Ditta Trindade. I'm from Nepal, and I'm a Sister School Project coordinator for Nepal. I would like to talk about a story about how we start the project. Well, there was a small school in my village where I used to go for study when I was a child. I visited the school after 10 years, and it was the same as during my childhood. There was no electricity, there was no computers, there is no internet access. So this was a typical situation as many schools in the developing countries are striving hard to provide education to all. Students who do attend school often do not receive proper education because of poorly trained and underpaid teacher, overcrowded classrooms, lack of basic teaching tools such as a textbook, blackboards, pens, and paper. It seems that without assistance from countries that are economically developed, the progress in this area will be barely visible. After I discussed with GNSD team what we can do to support these schools, we decided to start Sister School Project. Every child is entitled to basic
Vipin, Natalia, I think there is an issue with his internet connection. Can you go ahead
I
with it?
can hear. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. I think he's not coming back right now, but I will try to say approximately what he would say if he was able to speak. He would say that seeing all that nothing has really changed in the school for so many years, and that this education is not how it's supposed to be. We ought to change, and we ought to help, especially the developed countries who have privilege of having it all way better and way easier. So he contacted GNSD and Dr. Marek Wosiński, Dr. Mira Jankowska from Poland, who helped to establish the Sister School Project, which, as I mentioned before, aimed to connect these rural, underdeveloped schools from developed countries. This cooperation has a lot of benefits, which also BP was going to talk about. So it's not only about providing children and teenagers with educational supplies and improving the quality of their formal education. It's also about this other kind of education, this more informal kind, this most important kind that Dr. Sapna, I believe, was talking about. It's about learning more life skills. It's about learning about different social, economic, cultural environments and conditions. Learning about how to make a change, how to work in a group, gaining pro-social motivation, developing a sense of purpose, learning how to organize events, learning about sustainability, openness, tolerance, gaining new perspectives, and learning how to be a part of global community. So it's really about this other part of learning, not only for students from developed countries, but also from these students who still need to receive some textbooks to receive their formal quality education. So how does it really look like? How does the cooperation look like? We mostly operate for now through fundraising, spreading the message, and connecting. So we often connect the first two a lot. When I was the student of this Catholic high school, we were making presentations and presenting them at the end of church services and fundraising after the service, as well as during the service, while some funds collected for the church were also coming for the project. At some point, Pipin and Dr. Marek Wośnicki, who's a founder of GNSD, and also contributed a lot to establishing the Sister School Project, they visited us in Poland, and we made a tour through schools in our hometown of Rawa Mazowiecka, where this Catholic public high school is, and in Warsaw as well, to spread the message, talk about the project, hopefully gain some new schools, which we were successful at for the project. And it was also a little bit about fundraising. On the right, we can see some children from one school we were lecturing at, giving some funds for Nepal to Bipin. The other thing we're doing, which is also important, but it's more about education itself, is connecting. This was the more challenging part, especially because of the language barrier we had, since most people here speak English, but not necessarily children in primary school in Nepal. Still, we had to connect somehow despite this language barrier. So we found the way of it through connecting through people who spoke English in both sides, and we were able to spread the message this way. Also between us, we were asking the question about life, about culture in Nepal and in Poland, exchanging information, exchanging pictures of how the life looks like here, right here, right now, and how a life changes, especially for these children in Nepal. So we could really see the impact of our actions. And the impact was quite big, because Catholic Public High School managed to raise over $800 for Sri Siddhi Ganesh Primary School. This is a really large amount, especially considering the currency exchange rate. And so with this money, we are able to provide computers, textbooks, electricity, printer, games like foldballs and puzzles, desks, and many other things for the school in Nepal. What is interesting is that all these things are really something we hear not only in Poland, but overall in developed countries. We take it for granted. It's just something that it is here, that we can see, that it is here when we come to school, and it will be here when we leave it, and when we come back, it will be even better. But for these children, for these people, it's not like that. They don't have it, and we need to help them so they can have it. And I think it's a really important lesson that we can't really take things for granted, because not everybody is as privileged as we are. Overall, the project impacted lives of over 100 children and teenagers in different countries, mostly in Poland and Nepal. Considering that this project is pretty young, I think it's a really amazing number. And we're of course looking to grow. We want to make this number even larger. Right now we have 20 schools who want to participate in the project. We are looking for connecting them and making the project go and grow even stronger. But what is it all for? That's a really important question, because I feel like we often undervalue the question why in our lives. We talked about many goals, about many aims, about many positive changes that can happen both in lives of children from these developing countries and children and youth from these developed countries. But there's still one goal that's missing, one that I think is one of the most important and one of the most beautiful things about this project. It's not only providing people with quality education where they don't have it initially. It's actually about empowering youth to be the change makers. Through this project, we can show the young people that they can make change in the world themselves. They don't have to wait for powerful politicians. They don't have to wait for rich people, from students of the best universities of the world. They don't have to wait for businessmen. They don't have to wait years to make a change. The change is here and now, and they are the change. And this change happens when they take the life in their hands. They take the action and change the life of one person. Because changing the life of one person is truly what can change the world here and now. Thank you.
Thank you, Natalia, for your describing the project so well and your wonderful efforts in education for all. Now I would request Miss Ditta Trindade to share her insights and her work and her experience with us on SDG4.
Thank you so much. And I especially thank Santosh, Natalia, and Bipin for sharing their amazing stories with us. And I have lots of questions towards you. But first of all, I would really like to say that how much I'm impressed by your work and how much I would like to see it grow further, inspire other young people, because for them you're role models that bring inspiration and a belief that change is possible. And then, as you said, Natalia, that they can take change in their hands and create a future they wish to see in their lives. I believe learning, whether formal or non-formal, is crucial. And I started to be involved in youth work when I was about 16. And in many ways, I never stopped. And the way I got involved, it was through a youth organization that was struggling to get established in the post-communist times. And it brought me to a professional life of working with youth policies, youth research, empowering other young people, training educators, and working overall in the field of education policy. So I would like to actually talk more in this regard, about quality education, less about the kind of SDGs and the goals and what it represents, but what kind of future you as young people, and we have here, I guess, about 100 young people from different backgrounds, what does it mean to see a good education for you? What would you like to see in your lives? What would you like to learn? What do you dream when you hear these stories of Natalia and Bipin and Santosh? How would you like to engage with each other, with your peers that share with you these inspiring stories? And how can you achieve it, right? So for me, it's very important to look at, what does it take to build such a story as Natalia and Santosh have just shared? How do you gain the motivation and the guts to actually do something? Where do you find support? How do you start, whether to find support in your teachers or superiors, in your school, to start something, such an initiative? Or how do you find another school that you could partner with across the world, being it in Europe or the States or, Australia, doesn't matter. Like, how do you start this? And then how do you keep yourself motivated where moments of failure comes? Because now we heard lots of achievements, lots of beautiful stories, but I'm sure Natalia and Santosh could also tell us about, the feeling of failure and like, oh my God, this didn't work out. Is it really working out? Where am I going? There are many doubts on this path. And actually, this is something I would really like to highlight, because in my experience, you learn most from failure. The perceived failure at that moment, where somebody says you, well, no, or where somebody tells you, well, this won't work out, when you don't receive the funding you hoped for, where a school that you hoped for to engage or another young person has kind of failed you down. So what do you do then? How do you continue? Where do you find the strengths? And in my life, every time I received a no, I had to kind of recreate my whole story, rebuild my whole energy and find alternatives in order to make what I wanted happen. And I think this is very important. How do you build this resilience? And this would be also my question for you, Natalia and Santosh and Bipani, if you're back. Like, what kept you going on, or what keeps you going on, and review your vision? You know, as Santosh has said, the initial vision of building schools is gone now. Now, how do you strengthen the learning communities and the values for it in Nepal? Maybe how can you inspire other young people to follow similar learning path as you, not only as learners, but also as youth leaders that can motivate other young people to start their own projects and to contribute to education for all, or for at least your community, your group. Because I think only by starting with yourself, we can kind of change the world. And there was a question in the chat I saw, like, what about the UN, who is not doing anything? You know, it's not like the young people are left on its own, although that may be often the feeling at the local level. But I believe to just rely on the UN is also not totally the way, and many things can be achieved also without the recognition or the support of the United Nations. I have still a few things that I would like to say, and that is, both of you shared kind of the importance of learning by doing, experimenting, the experiential part of it. And I think this is really crucial. I think when we talk about quality education today, whether it's in the formal schooling or working with teachers, parents, it's really important that people learn through experience, that the learning is centered on what are their learning needs. And although it may be sometimes hard to identify that, it's still important to reflect on what people really want to learn, wish to learn. What are the issues that bring a spark in their eyes, and want to take them, you know, a little step further on their learning path? And how can this be encouraged by those who provide the learning? So I think this is really important. I also am very impressed by your ambitions and your initiatives to scale up your projects and bring these stories to others, to other schools or to other environment. And I think that's really brave. And I would also, if you're in the chat, love to, you know, like hear from you, like what inspires you, whether to follow a similar path, or what are your dreams to build a project of a different nature in the learning area. So yeah, maybe just as a key message at the end, I would like to say that don't be afraid to, how shall I say, to start. And maybe even though you have a feeling that you don't know how to, and you're unsure whether you can do it, without trying and experimenting, you will never know. And if you have if you have a feeling that it's not working out, seek out for help. You know, find the people who can promote your ideas, who can give you feedback. If you never ask for support, you will never get it. So just seek for support, and there is no failure. You know, everything is a learning experience. So even though you may not reach out to very many others in your ambition, it's good. It's okay to start small and to grow gradually. And as I said, it's a learning path. It's a learning experience. Thank you.
Thank you, Dita, for your wonderful words. And yeah, I agree, and we all agree on this that there are no failures, and it's just the starting for all of us. Um, with that, Santosh and Natalia, would you like to add to any of the points which Dita just mentioned?
Yeah, thank you, Asima, and thank you, Dita. I really like to mention some more word from my side, but definitely we have a really time limit, so I can just try my best. Uh, Many times I'm disappointing myself because what we did in 11 years, that's not easy. Every step of life is difficulties. When we talk about the country contrast, when we are seeking for the fund, when we are seeking for the some resources, it's not easy. When we compare to other developing country, Europe and other parts, wow, they have so much easy when we see in our life. But what I believe is the time to change. I really like to give good answer for my grandchild as a son. Hey, I did something in my way. It's a time to change. Then every time I have more motivation from all the different people from all over the world. They can give me the message, they can give me the text, hey, Santosh, you are doing wonderful job. So then I can definitely get more power to myself. Yeah, let's do something. But when I'm totally lost, I really like to take all the picture with the kids. When I see the smile in their face, wow, I'm doing so much good things for smiling for the faces. Even not only for my country, when I see the data for all around the world, there are more than 258 million kids and young people still are out of the schools. So it's the time to do something for the United. It's the time to co-create, like a, such a this kind of the platform to help us to peer each other. It's the time to introducing each other, like a similar things Natalia doing in Poland. They are working also in Nepal, but we never we don't know each other. So it's the time to co-create how we are able to do it. At the same time, the leader of the Masterpiece Art Boss every time said, in the world, there are 7 billion people, but not 7 billion issue. So that means still we are aligned to solve the global issue. It's the time to unite it. It's the time to co-create. So that's why I really like to motivate all the young people. Definitely every people, they have a personal life. Sometimes you have a problem, in your love, in your business, in your money. But if you can imagine 10 minutes a day, that would be really something impactful for the better future, better world. So that's what I realized, and every time, if I can give my example, when I started in 2009 till 2012, there are 3 years I was submitting more than 1,000 proposals to different INGO, but all the proposals are rejected because people are looking something different, they are doing something different, but my vision is totally different because I really love one uh, very famous educational quote. If you have planned for the 1 year, you can plant rice, and if you have planned for the 10 years, you can plant tree, and then if you have planned for the 100 years, you can invest in education. So that's what I like, and that's what I do. I know in next 10 years, maybe in my country, when all the education system will be changed, it'll take another 100 years. But even I don't mind, because when I was alive, when I was in my time, I did something. I just spending my effort to change. It's the time to change. So that's why, many times I'm also really not like to take all the motivational video, all the successful people biograph, because many successful people biograph, they are scripted. They have some real life is so different, and the realistic real life and real life, so that's a two different part. So I really like to follow the people who are failed, who have lots of problem in their life. So I would like to talk these kind of the people. Hey, what's your problem? Yeah, I have also faced similar problem to how I can motivate myself in every day. So that's what I did. And last one thing what I did, uh, many people I've met in my life, they are just talking in their mouth. They just talk from their mouth. Yeah, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. Many promises, but less people, they are talking from their heart. So I really like to people who are really talking from their heart. So when people that are talking from their heart, it would be really interesting. And then people can easily judgment you. Yeah, you can do this, you cannot do this. So many of my friends every time say to me, hey, you are a mad, you are a crazy. Why you are doing all this effort? Because this is the government responsibility. This is not your responsibility. But I really like to reply all of my friend, hey, it's the time to change. Every single person can give some effort for the better world. So that's what I did. And then last one thing I really like to mention is that uh, every 2 weeks and every 3 weeks, and sometimes it take a month, I really like to go in front of the camera, like in front of the mirror. I really like to go in front of the mirror, and I really like to ask one question. Hey, Santosh, are you happy? What's going on in your life? Everything is all right? And then I wanted to give answer myself. So that's the biggest motivation from last 11 years. Hopefully this is not end. This is just starting. I really like to see all the children are happy inside the school. All children are get all the free education. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Santosh, for your words on your advice. And yes, we all agree on that. With that, we have a question from Nishiganda. If she is here, she can ask her question, or maybe I can go ahead by just letting you know her question. Nishiganda, are you there?
Yeah, I
Go ahead, but you're not audible. Yeah.
question with the sir who spoke in the beginning. Sir, you said that you have a four-step process.
Nishiganda, can you just come in front of the mic and speak, because it's still not audible to us.
Um,
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, so I just wanted to know that sir had four-step process when he was engaging with students. So I just wanted to ask, what are those four-step process? Like he talked about mapping, like first you hear them, then you map them. So what does mapping means?
Thank you for your questions. So basically, the map means ask the students, to map the picture of a story in their mind. So when you can go in classroom, when you started some session, like in some story from your books, then that time you need to ask the students the picture of a story on their mind. Basically, it means to use their imagination and picturize what the story says. So that's basically in maps. So if you really wanted to know more about that part, just you can send me in the text. So I will be answering you in whole process how we can use for that process.
Yes, sir. I would really like to know about
Yeah.
it.
Definitely, you can just send me the email and then I will reply you back.
Thank you, Santosh, and thank you, Nishiganda, for your question. We have another question for Natalia, which is that what all challenges you face in executing this collaboration between a Polish school and a Nepali school?
So I think there was a few challenges, but the biggest challenge I think was in communication overall, because we have this gap, especially in language gap, as I mentioned, but also in technological gap. So sometimes it was difficult to connect because of the internet failures in Nepal. Sometimes we had to contact with people who don't know English. So that was certainly a challenge. Sometimes it's also this people not always reply right away. So it's sometimes hard to, enforce the pace that we would like with the project, because each of us has their own different lives, responsibilities. And I think that because this project is kind of like a side project for everybody. Everybody has their job, has their own school at the time. It's difficult to enforce everybody to work exactly like we would like to. So it requires a lot of patience of us to enforce the project the way we would like to. Also, another big challenge, I think, was disbelief of many people. especially at the beginning, we're going to work with some teachers from our school, from our Mazowiecka, some higher people like in the government, but in like city government here. And these adults, like really adults, not young people, had a lot of disbelief in this project. They didn't really think it was possible to make it. And that's the difference I really saw, because us young people believed very much in that, and we had really a lot of energy and resilience to work towards our goal. We had it in front of our eyes, and they didn't. I must say that I would have also like an advice for all of you who work on similar projects, maybe. Work with like-minded people. If somebody doesn't believe in this project and you're unable to convince them with any arguments, just find people who think like you, because with such team, you'll be able to achieve wonders. As we can see here, we were able to really achieve the cooperation, and we are able to enforce it even more, because now we work in a community of people who believe in the success of this project, who want to work on it and put their hearts into it.
Yep. Thank you, Natalia, for answering the question. One last question to both of you is that what advice would you both, since you both are working on similar projects, what advice would you give to each other or people working on issues similar to yours? Natalia, you would like to go ahead? Any advice?
I kind of answered it. I kind of answered it. I said working with like-minded people is very important, because it lets you really push the project forward and not be pushed back by any disbelief. Of course, disbelief happens, but you know, it's different between disbelief, which is a temporary state when a failure happens and you need to motivate yourself to go forward, and like a constant disbelief when you don't believe in something from the very beginning and you just don't bother with pushing forward very much. I also think like what's important is not listening to people who say, like Santosh said, it's not your responsibility, because it's our responsibility to take care of the world and bring the change, because we are the youth. We are the future face of the world. And if we want to see a change, we need to work with that. I feel like keeping ourselves motivated and not being discouraged by failures is very important.
Yeah,
Thank you,
so,
Natalia.
Yeah, so from my side, I definitely agree with Natalia, because it's not really easy to find like-minded people, so who are really motivated and really connected what they are really doing. So you are really doing fantastic job, Natalie. So keep it up. Probably in the future, if we can co-create anything from my side in any school, sister school projects or anything, just let me know. I love to co-create with you, and definitely for the BPN, because we also invest in Nepal. So we, united. It's the time for the united. It's a single. It's always be the teamwork is really important. So I really love to co-create with you. So that's from my side. Thank you.
Thank you, Santosh. Yeah. Ms. Ditta, there is a question for you. Lucky Kaushik is asking that what would be one primary thing that you would practice wherever you go when you interact with children?
Thank you. Although I'm not a specialist on childhood education, I have a 5-year-old son. And well, in my experience with children, you need to be present. So look in their eyes and just make them, first of all, run around so that they can focus. So make them move, make their body moves. And then, for learning, based on they say one of the best education in the world is the Finnish model. And they say that children learn best if they're exposed to movement, so exercise, music, different types of music, from classical to whatever, world music, and different languages, although they don't understand them. So if you want children to learn and to grow, these are the 3 premises that I try to practice. And then, yeah, make them curious, tell them amazing stories, let them explore the world, the nature, point out to issues they maybe find natural, but they don't understand. And one thing that, and in the end, I would like to highlight, it's the importance of inclusion. We didn't really address it here, but I think it's really crucial to think of all the children, young people with disability in learning or other types of disability, and how to include them in the learning process, how to give them support, but also how to create empathy and solidarity among those who don't have the disability, to embrace these the otherness in the others. And it can be not only related to disability, but also otherness in terms of different background, different religion, and how to make people feel that they are part of humanity, and how we can be together in celebrating diversity, but if that's also a competence to be learned. So yeah, this is what I hope children any place in the world would be able to learn.
Thank you, Ditta, for your words and for your advice. And also, thank you for sharing the links with us to all the resources which can be used by the youth and other people working in the field of inclusive and quality education for all. Thank you, Ditta, for joining us today.
Thank
And
you.
also, we have with us 2 participants from Pakistan, Sir Anas and Madam Shireen from MasterPeace Club in Karachi, Pakistan. Uh, they have been doing wonderful work on providing quality education in Karachi. Uh, Thank you for joining us, and thank you for all your work which you've been doing. Uh, Also, we have with us in this session teachers from many schools in different parts of the world. Thank you for your work, and we really appreciate you for your presence in this session. Thank you once again for joining. And thank you to all the audiences for joining and having this invigorating discussion with all of us. Thank you once again. And we would like to take a picture with all of you, since we are one community working on one goal. Can we all switch on our cameras so that Ketki can take a picture of all of us together? Once again, thank you from my side. And we have these sessions on different SDGs in every 15 days. And we'll be posting about this on our social medias, and we really look forward to having you on our sessions. Ketki, please switch on the cameras, and let's take a picture of us, yeah, together.
Great. So I'll just take everyone's picture, and I'll just go over the multiple screens we have since we have so many participants. Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Ditta. Thank you, Natalia, Santosh, Bipin, and thank you, everyone, Connecting Dreams Foundation. Thank you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Bye-bye. Take care.